Hi guys. Good morning.
Never brush your teeth or use mouthwash if you can taste your cocaine.
Oh no, the advertisements. This is gonna kill me.
Periodontal issues until you had a chance to see this discussion.
I gotta get back on my account with ad block. The ads are so bad nowadays. Hello, Monotone Maniacs. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you. Hope you're having a great day. This is gonna be interesting. I added a little bit of one of my favorite drinks, Lavender Lotus, into my coffee latte. So we're gonna see how this tastes. I thought it would be like a little bit of like a blueberry flavored latte kind of thing. So we'll find out. Okay, it somehow made it like kind of green. I think the brown of the coffee mixed with the blue. Okay, it's good though. It's good though. It looks like swamp water. It's good though. I trust. But yeah, this usually is just with milk, not with coffee. I'm just weird. Tastes good and good for me, so that's what I care about. Hopefully this isn't too loud. So we're doing some research for something I'm working on. Magic mushrooms, demystified. It's a comic book that was laying around here that I think Rumsey he got at the Psychedelic Science Conference.
So why are psychedelics illegal?
Now, you might assume that they're illegal because they're harmful and that, there's some concern for public health and that the government is just kind of benevolently looking after us by making these compounds illegal. But if you look at the history, that's not at all why they're illegal. And if you look at the data, the risks are so minimal that that narrative just doesn't make any sense. And it's becoming increasingly important as new research comes out on how incredibly therapeutic these compounds are for scientists like myself working in this area to be more vocal about the truth about these compounds and the kind of real reasons that these things are being kept from people. So if you go back to the 60s, LSD had a hugely transformative effect socially on America. You don't need me to tell you this. It completely transformed a whole generation. You go from the really humdrum 50s through to this kind of day-glow psychedelic 60s hippie movement. And there was one particular strand of that movement, which was the part of that movement that was against the Vietnam War. And these psychedelics were having an effect on people where they were making people question the systems around them and making young men question whether they wanted to be conscripted to go fight in a war that they didn't understand. And politicians at the time were very aware that this was damaging to them and their aims.
Thank you, Rob. Hello,
and so
how are
they
you?
constructed these drug laws and these scare stories in the media to suppress them because they are a powerful technology. So a few years ago, Dan Baum in Harper's Magazine wrote an article where he interviewed a senior Nixon official. Nixon was the president at the time. And this official gave an astonishing admission of why psychedelics had been made illegal. So he said, "You want to know what this was really all about? The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities." We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Do we know that we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. And that's as pretty clear an admission as you can get for something like this. And it's kind of surprising that someone involved would actually even admit to it, but there's enough evidence, it's obvious enough, even without blatant admission like that the war on drugs was being waged for political reasons. Recent studies have shown that psychedelic experiences increase people's resistance to authoritarian regimes and also increase kind of nature-mindedness. These are two aspects, another way of saying they create hippies. And that was not politically aligned with the Republican White House at the time. And so, in collusion with the media, scare stories manufactured, and LSD was made illegal. First in California, then all of America, and then the UN followed. And all other psychoactive drugs were then not in two aspects, another way of saying they create hippies. And that was not politically aligned with the Republican White House at the time. And so, in collusion with the media, scare stories manufactured, and LSD was made illegal. First in California, then all of America, and then the UN followed. And all other psychoactive drugs were, included in the wake of the LSD banning, even though very little was known about the effects of substances like psilocybin.
So sorry, guys.
And at the time, there'd been almost 2 decades of very exciting research with LSD. It was heralded as a kind of wonder drug.
Give me 1
It had been
second.
shown to be the most effective cure out there for alcoholism and was showing really promising kind of effects.